Today we will learn the difference between covariance and correlation. Both measure how two variables move together. By the end, you will know exactly what each one tells you, how to calculate them, and why correlation is almost always the better tool to use. Imagine you record two things about 10 students, how many hours each one studied, and their exam score. When a student studies more, their score tends to go up. That pattern, one variable rising as another rises, is what we want to measure. But we also want to detect the opposite. When one rises, the other falls, and sometimes there is no pattern at all. To measure that joint movement, we use covariance. Covariance looks at every pair of data points together. For each pair it asks, is the x value above its average at the same time that the y value is above its average? If yes, both deviations are positive and their product is positive. If one is above while the other is below, one deviation is negative and their product is negative. Covariance is the average of all those products. Here is the covariance formula. We write cov of x and y. It equals 1 divided by n minus 1. We multiply that by the sum, for every data point I from 1 to n, of the quantity x sub I minus x bar times the quantity y sub I minus y bar. Here x sub I is one data point's x value, x bar is the mean of all x values, and y sub I and y bar are the same thing for y. The denominator is n minus 1. Not n because we are estimating from a sample. The sign of covariance tells us the direction. A positive covariance means both variables tend to rise together. A negative covariance means one rises while the other falls. A covariance near zero means there is little or no linear relationship. The sign is useful, but the number itself is hard to interpret because it depends on the units of measurement. Here is the core problem with covariance. Suppose height and weight have a covariance of 200 if height is measured in centimeters. Now measure height in meters instead. The covariance drops to 100 times smaller, even though the relationship between height and weight did not change at all. The number shifted only because we changed units. This means you cannot compare covariances across different datasets or different pairs of variables. The number alone tells you almost nothing about how strong the relationship is. Correlation fixes the scale problem by dividing the covariance by the standard deviations of both variables. The standard deviation of a variable measures how spread out its values are. When we divide by both standard deviations, the units cancel out completely. What we get is a pure number, the Pearson correlation coefficient, always between -1 and +1, no matter what units x and y use. Let us write the full formula. The Pearson correlation, which we call R, equals the sum from I equals 1 to n of x sub I minus x bar times y sub I minus y bar. That whole sum is divided by the product of two quantities, the square root of the sum of x sub I minus x bar squared, times the square root of the sum of y sub I minus y bar squared. This formula is just the covariance divided by the two standard deviations, written out in full. Because R is always between -1 and +1, we can interpret its size. When R equals +1, the two variables have a perfect positive linear relationship. All points lie exactly on a straight line going up. When R equals -1, they have a perfect negative linear relationship. When R equals 0, there is no linear pattern. Values like 0.7 or 0.8 are considered strong. Values near 0.3 or lower are considered weak. These cutoffs are not strict rules, they are useful guides. Now let us work through a full numeric example together. We have 5 students. Their study hours are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Their exam scores are 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. We will calculate the covariance first, then the correlation. The mean of study hours, which we call x bar, is 6. The mean of exam scores, which we call y bar, is 70. Find the covariance, we compute the deviation of each x value from 6, the deviation of each y value from 70, and their products. Student 1, x minus x bar is 2 minus 6, which is -4. Y minus y bar is 50 minus 70, which is -20. The product is -4 times -20, which is 80. Student 2, deviations are -2 and -10, product is 20. Student 3, deviations are 0 and 0, product is 0. Student 4, deviations are 2 and 10, product is 20. Student 5, deviations are 4 and 20, product is 80. Adding all 5 products, 80 plus 20 plus 0 plus 20 plus 80 equals 200. Dividing by n-1, which is 4, gives a covariance of 50. Now we use the same data to find the correlation. The sample standard deviation of x, Sx, is the square root of 40 divided by 4, which is 3.16. The sample standard deviation of y, Sy, is the square root of 1000 divided by 4, which is 15.81. Their product Sx times Sy equals 50.0. The correlation R equals cov of x and y divided by Sx times Sy. That is 50 divided by 50.0, which gives R equal to plus 1.0. This result makes sense. Our data sits on a perfect straight line, so the correlation is exactly 1. Let us see what different values of r look like on a scatter plot. When r equals 1, all points sit exactly on an upward sloping line. When r equals 0.9, the points cluster tightly around a line but are not perfectly on it. When r equals 0.5, the upward trend is visible but the spread is wide. When r equals 0, the cloud is a roughly circular blob with no direction. Negative values mirror the positive ones. R equals -1 is a perfect downward line, and r equals -0.5 is a loose downward trend. Let us put covariance and correlation side by side to see how they differ. Covariance is not bounded. It can be any number, positive or negative, large or small, depending on units. Correlation is always between -1 and +1. Covariance is hard to compare across datasets. Correlation is easy to compare because the scale is fixed. Covariance tells you the direction only. Correlation tells you both the direction and the strength. For most practical work, correlation is the clearer choice. Correlation appears everywhere in real life. In medicine, higher cholesterol is positively correlated with higher risk of heart disease. In education, more years of schooling is positively correlated with higher lifetime earnings. In finance, when stock markets fall, gold prices often rise, so they can be negatively correlated. In weather science, temperature and ice cream sales are positively correlated, but that does not mean ice cream causes hot weather. This last point is crucial. Correlation does not tell you which variable causes the other. The phrase correlation does not imply causation is one of the most important ideas in statistics. Two variables can move together for 3 reasons. First, X might cause Y. Second, Y might cause X. Third, a hidden third variable might be driving both. For ice cream and temperature, the actual cause of both is the season, summer. Correlation cannot tell you which of these 3 situations you are in. That requires a controlled experiment or careful study design. There is a common mistake people make with correlation. A Pearson correlation of 0 does not mean the 2 variables are unrelated. It only means there is no linear relationship. 2 variables can have a strong curved relationship, but still have a Pearson correlation of 0. For example, y equals x squared is a perfect U-shape. If x ranges symmetrically from -2 to +2, the correlation is exactly 0, even though y is perfectly determined by x. Here are 2 more things to watch out for. First, a high correlation does not mean the line itself is a useful model. It just means the points cluster near a line. Second, correlation is sensitive to outliers. One extreme point can pull the correlation far from the true pattern of the rest of the data. Always look at the scatter plot before trusting the number. A picture and a number together are much stronger than either one alone. When should you use covariance and when should you use correlation? Use covariance when the units matter. For example, in finance, portfolio variance combines covariances of asset returns, and keeping the original scale is important for the math. Use correlation when you want a quick, comparable, unit-free measure of relationship strength, which is most of the time in data analysis, research, and machine learning. Correlation is the default choice for exploration. For the final summary, let us put both formulas on screen together. The covariance formula, cov of x and y equals 1 over n minus 1, times the sum of x sub I minus x bar, times y sub I minus y bar. The correlation formula, r equals that covariance, divided by sigma sub x times sigma sub y. You can see clearly that correlation is just a scaled version of covariance. The scaling step, dividing by the product of the 2 standard deviations, is what removes the units and locks the result between -1 and +1. Let us recap what we covered today. Covariance measures how 2 variables change together. Its sign shows the direction, but its size depends on units and is hard to interpret on its own. Correlation is covariance divided by the product of both standard deviations. It is always between -1 and +1, is unit-free, and tells you both the direction and the strength of the linear relationship. Correlation equals 1 or -1 means a perfect linear fit. Correlation near 0 means no linear pattern, but not necessarily no relationship at all. Correlation never proves causation, and always pair the number with a scatter plot. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe for more.